Monday column coming up. I think I'm going to do one called Dead Man's Float. Does that sound too grim if I say Dead Man's Float? It's part of, it's kind of like self-care. It's basically saving your energy to survive. That doesn't sound great. Okay, I'll think about that. At any rate, if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll see mine, Ben Cominos, and so many other great writers. And by supporting us, purchasing some woke coffee, you also help our work keep going. We want to thank Source Solar. That's source.solar. You can go to source.solar and find out about the great work that they do. It might be time for you to put some solar panels on your house or your business. And we are going to have Pete and Warren back in mid-April to have another conversation about solar panels. And you can go to heartlandsignal.com, check out all of our podcasts, and in there you'll find my conversation with Pete and Warren. And I think they answered a lot of great questions, and I know folks had so many more. We also want to thank our friends at the Way Back In. March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. If you or someone you love is struggling with a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER, or visit areyoureallywinning.com. Again, areyoureallywinning.com. I know I've had a lot of conversations about my own story, my dad's recovery from gambling and addiction, and I really just want you to know that people love you, and or the person that you love needs your help. There is no shame in this. It is an addiction if somebody is struggling with it. So I also, of course, want you to visit All Kids. Kids Above All. Their name used to be All Kids, and they changed it. It's Kids Above All. Go to kidsaboveall.org and support their mission to help children live happy, healthy, safe lives. A lot of great sponsors, and we're working on some more. So thank you, everybody, for your support. If you visit our sponsors, it helps the show keep going, and it shows that you are invested in these conversations. Not just our show, all of the shows on WCPT. And I'm so honored to get to work with journalists and people who are organizing and doing the hard work in other parts of the country. Coming up at 5:15, we will talk to the political editor of Civic Media and, of course, the editor-publisher of is he on the line already? The publisher and editor of the Recombobulation Area, that's Dan Shafer out of Wisconsin. So we'll talk all things Wisconsin in just a few moments. We have Kaylee Peterson coming up at 6 o'clock, and we're going to have Ford Miller on again. He's a lawyer. He's the lawyer librarian at what's the university? It's Loyola University in New Orleans. And we're going to talk about some of these students that have been basically kidnapped by ICE or DHS. We don't know, because the video of this woman who was basically abducted at Tufts University, how horrifying. She was, breaking her fast from Ramadan, was just, you can see she's just making her way somewhere, and out of nowhere, these people just descend upon her, about 5 or 6 men. There's one woman, I believe, there, all of them masked, hands on her immediately, grabbing her backpack. And it is basically the goal of Marco Rubio to revoke the student visas of people who say things they don't like. I'm just so angry. And she has been, for 24 hours, they did not know where she was. And finally, information was shared that she had been taken to the same facility in Louisiana that the student from New York had been taken. So we'll have conversations about that. Not just that, but also people with green cards. A friend of mine reached out and said that she was contacted by someone here on a green card, and they were told by DHS that they wanted access to all their social media. This is what we're doing. This is what people wanted. And ultimately, apparently, because the scare tactics that are being used in all of these commercials. I was just on my way here listening to Tune In. They had 2 back-to-back. Judge Susan Crawford wants you to be just, blah, blah, blah. There's the immigrants are coming to get you. There are boys in the bathrooms, and you better be afraid if she wins. Blah. It's like the monster truck rally. Sunday. It's like the lowest common denominator. And I will say, I will be back in Wisconsin tomorrow. Unlike President Musk, I do not have $1 million I can illegally give away to folks. But if you're around, I do have some WCPT driving at home pens that I would love to share with you. So I'll be back in Walworth County. I'll be door knocking in Elkhorn. Adam Selzer and I believe are driving up tomorrow and doing what we can to help out there. I'm already getting some folks like reaching out and telling me to stay out of Wisconsin, and saying that Susan Crawford is an extremist, clearly believing all the lies that people are sharing and not the truth, which is that Schimmel wants to go back to this barbaric abortion ban from 1849. And then the idea that they want people to show IDs for voting. I have not shown my ID. And I look, I know that I present as white, so I don't know how it is for folks of other backgrounds, but we don't get ID'd. It's a signature, it's your address. Voter fraud is so minuscule, and the bulk of voter fraud tends to be, guess who? Guess who it is? It's the Republicans. At any rate, so I will be in Wisconsin campaigning for Judge Susan Crawford, because that is clearly folks are seeing that as the most important race. Although I think that they are a little bit nervous about Florida, aren't they? They've realized that a couple of the candidates, including our friend who we've had on the show, Josh McNeil, has been, I believe that's his name, has been bringing in a lot of attention. He was on MSNBC last night. Both candidates in Florida I believe both are within the margin of error for flipping those seats. So we're very excited about those races. At any rate, I did love that Elise Stefanik's nomination to be the UN. It was so funny. I'm sorry. It was like that was the entire reason that she became a bootlicker, because apparently a lot of even Dems say that she was pretty solid until she realized that the path forward was to go full on MAGA. Let's take an early break here so we can check in with our good friend Dan Shafer, the editor-publisher of the Recombobulation Area. We'll be right back in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. We are driving it home.
Think Theory Radio.
Theoretical astrophysicist Dan Hooper.
If there's someplace a light year away from now, there's nothing I can do now that can influence that place in less than a year. No matter what I do, no matter how I build my quantum machine, or no matter what I entangle or what I quantum teleport, nothing I can do here can affect that until a full year has passed, allowing light to get there at the speed of light.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820. WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway, or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I also want to make sure we say hello to our friends. We are now part of the KKNW 1150 station. We are out of Seattle, Washington. So thank you so much for having us and joining us today as we check in with our good friend Dan Shafer, the publisher, editor, writer for the Recombobulation Area and political editor for Civic Media. Dan, I was hoping to go to this event and possibly win $1 million. You get $1 million. I'm going to Wisconsin tomorrow, but I only have pens to bring for people. And it's not if they vote. It's just, here, please tell people about my show. That's all I have.
Oh, what a time. What a time. Yes. Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Yes. Elon Musk trying to buy a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat and doing so by pretty flagrantly flouting Wisconsin election law. He got himself in some trouble today. He just deleted one of his own tweets. Yeah, which you don't see too often from one Elon Musk.
Which totally erases the illegal action. Like that means that it never happened, right, Dan? Like if I erase it, I didn't do it. You can't prove it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. No screenshots were taken of that one. That's for sure.
No, you may as well have been on a signal call. Here's the thing: is that I was wondering today. I kind of hope this backfires thunderously, because this seems like the kind of crap that people in Wisconsin are like, hold up. Is it possible that people that wouldn't vote before are kind of like, this guy really is trying to buy us?
I mean, it certainly is making a lot of headlines, right? He's making national news in a not so great way for himself right before this election. And for those of your listeners who might not have been following the story, Elon Musk, in a late night tweet yesterday, posted that he would be giving away $2 million or $1 million checks to people who would be, proof that they were voting. Well, it's one thing that what he was doing beforehand, saying, he's doing this giveaway to people who signed a petition, but activist judges or blah, 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 whatever. It's another thing what he was doing today. And so, as this unfolded today in Wisconsin, so Elon Musk posted this tweet in the middle of the night. This morning, the Wisconsin Democrats issued a press release saying that Elon Musk committed a blatant felony in his post about plans to, quote, hand over 2 checks for $1 million each in a Wisconsin event that he is planning this Sunday. And so shortly after the Wisconsin Democrats put that press release out, Elon Musk deleted the tweet and posted something else with a little bit, different language. But nevertheless, the Attorney General in the state of Wisconsin, Josh Kaul, announced that he was going to be taking some legal action to be looking into this because it does seem like he is pretty flagrantly violating a certain election bribery statute in Wisconsin state law.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's where that's the short version of what has happened in Wisconsin today.
Well, he said apparently the latest I see from Axios, a listener Roosevelt sent this over, that he's saying now that his talk will be limited to those who have signed a petition expressing their opposition to activist judges. And he will hand over checks for $1 million to 2 people to be a spokesman for the petition. I will speak about the.
Yes, that's right.
I'll speak for the petition. I mean, I'm an actress. I could do that for $1 million. For $1 million.
Well, the thing of it is that Musk, to me, I think he's openly acting more egregiously than any right-wing fever dream about what any liberal, donor might do in an election. But no so-called conservative is going to care, because this is never about election integrity or influencing Wisconsin voters or anything like that. It's just a means to an end. It's only ever been about power. And I think that is just exemplified in what we're seeing here in Wisconsin today. Like, conservatives don't care that he's flaunting this law so blatantly, and more so, than any of the weird conspiracies about George Soros or just whatever that they have dreamed up over the years. What Musk is doing openly is more insane than what they have dreamed up about what might happen from somebody on the Democratic side. And of course, none of them care.
Yeah. Well,
because he's supporting their guy.
Well,
so.
But it's so in the upside down world of this, right? Because I've been going to Wisconsin. So I started a new thing, Dan, because the language on my Facebook page, we have posted some things that have gone somewhat viral with 4,000 comments, and which of course draws a lot of attention. And all of a sudden, I'm a liberal whore and a stupid slut, and some fun other things. So what I started doing is I now, every time someone says something mean on my Facebook page or my DMs, I dedicate 25 doors in Wisconsin in their name. I'll show up on the porch and say, "Hey, Peter Crown says that he really supports abortion rights. He wanted me to stop by your house." But
there you go.
But
there you go.
It's the Patti adventure. But I had one that was, to your point, saying that, Soros is giving money. What's good for the goose is $1 million, right? Which I get, but he's also done that all over. He's never done something where he's paying people. And believe me, in Chicago, we are not unfamiliar with giving people stuff in exchange for their votes. Willie Wilson, and I don't mean just our politics in general. Yes, in the past, but we've had a mayor.
A little bit of corruption in Chicago's history, just a little.
But we had a mayoral candidate, Dr. Willie Wilson. He prefers to be called doctor, just so you know. But he gives out gas cards. Like he'll give out like $25 and cash to people. It's a thing. And I know that Musk was doing this. Wasn't he giving people $100 for signing petitions as well, like last week?
Yeah. That's kind of what's been part of it. So he was like giving $100 if you sign a petition, and then you like go into a drawing to potentially win $1 million. And so like as he's doing this, hey, we're going to give away $1 million checks for voting. It's just a way for him to just have a little bit of a way to skirt the laws. And then the tweet last night that he eventually took down was really not even trying anymore,
no.
Right? It was just a blatant giveaway that he was essentially promising for an event this Sunday. So who knows what the next 48 hours will hold for Musk in this effort. But I think the larger point here, I think, is that this race is very much becoming a referendum on Elon Musk. And I think, because of his outsized level of importance in the Trump administration with DOGE and taking a wrecking ball to all of these federal agencies, like it is, and he's so very much in the center of the news. And not only that, he is outspending everybody in this Wisconsin Supreme Court race. So the spending in these races has just grown astronomically in the last 5 years. So in 2020, we had a race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. The record that race set a record in spending for $10 million. That record was destroyed a couple years later when Janet Protasewicz won in 2023, and that I think the total spending on that was somewhere in like the $55 to $60 million range. Yeah. Now this race has already zoomed past $100 million in total spending, with Musk being the biggest donor of all of that. He, on his own, has spent more than $20 million. So more than double what the record was only 5 years ago. Musk has committed that much just on his own. And yes, there is spending on both sides, a lot of spending from billionaire donors on both sides. That's something that I think we need to address in the state of Wisconsin, because there was a change in campaign finance law that happened under Scott Walker in 2015 that basically allowed for unlimited donations to state parties and allowing for state parties to give that money directly to candidates. So I would think that given what is happening now is a good time as any to revisit that as soon as we possibly can, because these elections are just being hijacked by big donors, and I think none more so than Musk himself, because he is becoming the central figure in this race with his spending, with what he's been saying, in and around the campaign, and just he's essentially running the federal government right now, too. Yep. So, it would be one thing if it was just like one of those things that he was doing, but all of them in total, in sum, is just making this race just the Elon Musk show. And it's really something else. It's pretty wild.
When we were door knocking both in Elkhorn and in Milwaukee over the last few weeks, when we say that Musk is pouring so much money, that gets people's attention if they weren't before. I mean, obviously, I think this is elevated to a much higher level. And I think if I heard correctly, in Pennsylvania, one of the candidates that was able to flip one of their state legislative seats was running on, do you want Musk values or Pennsylvania values, kind of a thing. And so I think it's effective. But isn't there also a case that could go up to the Supreme Court of Wisconsin regarding Tesla dealerships, which is part of what he's invested in, not just the breaking or destroying the wokeism in this country?
Yep, there is a Tesla case that is likely to head to the Wisconsin Supreme Court also. So it does seem like there would be, some personal financial interest too. But I think it goes farther than that. I think it is, I think this is, we've talked about so many times in the past that Wisconsin can be kind of the canary in the coal mine for so many big issues, right? These stories will happen first in Wisconsin politics and then go off to the rest of the country. We can kind of be like the guinea pigs for a lot of things. Think back to how things were with Scott Walker and that the testing ground for so many different things that went national, after that. And I think now this is really setting up to be the latest version of that, because I think if Musk is successful in his efforts to essentially buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, what's stopping him from throwing his money around in any state and local race from here on out? Like, right. I think this has, it really major importance. It's always been an important race for Wisconsin. A lot of what we've talked about over the years for these state Supreme Court races, they have to do with reproductive rights and labor rights and redistricting and like all of these different things that are crucially important here in the state of Wisconsin. But I think this one also has the added effect of the national resonance, with this being an election held just 71 days after Donald Trump took office, after Elon Musk has taken control of the federal government in so many ways. And I think because of that, it's going to be the first state-level test. And so I think Wisconsin voters have this really unique opportunity right now to do, what, frankly, a lot of national Democrats haven't been doing, is to really send a message to stand up to Elon Musk and stand up to Donald Trump and say enough, and say we don't want this. And, if this is going to be a referendum on what they're doing in so many ways, and just to maintain checks and balances in our government right now, I think this, if Wisconsin voters are able to defeat the Musk bucks and everything else that has come to the state in this race, I think it's going to send an incredibly powerful message that's going to resonate nationally. Yeah,
I think you're right. And I was at an empty chair town hall last week in Elkhorn, Congressman Stiles' district. So they were hoping for 100 people to show up. There were over 200 people that showed up, standing room only. A lot of folks spoke from the ages of 23 to 98, Dan. And it was there were veterans, there were farmers, there were people who were saying it was not organized by the Dems. One person did leave, and he on his way out said, "I didn't know there were so many Democrats around here." But I think he thought it might be a town hall that Congressman Steele would show up. But I mean, clearly he was somebody who wanted to go to a town hall meeting, though. Are you hearing more about those types of meetings happening throughout Wisconsin where they're not showing up? I believe there was one couple that have run away in despair.
Yeah, there have been a couple that have, I think Derek Van Orden, who's, kind of Wisconsin's Marjorie Taylor Greene in a lot of ways.
That seems right.
And he set up a couple of these, over the past few weeks, where it was like a telephone town hall. And then he was just kind of gatekeeping who was going to be able to speak or ask a question and stuff like that. He had another one where there was a staffer of his that was going to have some sort of town hall meeting with folks, and then canceled that once he realized, that a lot more people had signed up to participate than the 25 people that they had initially expected. So there is a lot of that kind of stuff. We'll see. I think, everything right now in Wisconsin is on hold until next week's election. We're in early voting. I just voted this afternoon. Hey! I went to my local early voting location here in the west side of Milwaukee to cast my ballot. So we've got early voting. I think in many communities across Wisconsin, early voting goes through tomorrow. It is off on Sunday, off on Monday, and then Tuesday we're all back to voting again. So.
Well, I look forward to connecting with you. Maybe we should move it later in the week, maybe Wednesday or so, to connect with you to see what the results are. We've been talking to Dan Shafer, the publisher, editor, writer of the Recombobulation Area. Please subscribe to his work and be a paid subscriber on Substack. You can also catch his work on Civic Media as a political editor. Dan, I've got to run. I have new time limits now. I have to be on time and everything. It's great talking to you, my friend. Thank you.
Great to talk to you too.
Have a great weekend. Thank you. Let's take a break here, and when we come back, we've got a candidate for mayor of Plainfield coming up in just a moment. We'll have that conversation because the local elections are so incredibly important in every single race around the country. So we'll talk to John Argoudelis, and when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I am meteorologist Jay Marslick. As we head into tonight, we're looking clear at the low around 59 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 40 miles per hour through the overnight. Saturday, chance of rain showers returns in the early morning under partly sunny skies with a high near 67 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Saturday night, chance of rain showers and thunderstorms likely under cloudy skies, low around 47 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 81 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The Randy Rhodes Show.
Oh, congratulations to the Fox and Friends weekend morning host, who's now our Secretary of Defense. He's a veteran, everybody. I know, I'm a veteran too. I'm pretty sure I wasn't on any of Kamala's short list for any cabinet position, but oh my God, these pits, it's almost like, well, there's a word for it. It's called patronage. Right here, right now on WCPT 820, weekdays 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we are thrilled here at WCPT 820 AM and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Now, I know that Seattle's a long way from us, but we focus and try to highlight local races, and we'll be reaching out to folks in Seattle as well. Right now, we have on the line with us Mayor of Plainfield, Mayor John Argoudelis. Hi, Mayor. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you doing?
Well, you know, I try to ask people if they're hydrating is what I try to focus on, because there's a lot going on all at once everywhere. I'm friends with a former state legislator in your area. I don't know if Representative Mark Batnick and you are familiar with each other, but a solid guy in Springfield when we used to have level-headed folks on that side of the aisle. Tell us a little bit about your community and what you've done for folks and why you would like to be reelected.
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Plainfield. I went down to University of Illinois undergrad and law school and never escaped Plainfield. So here I am. And I've, witnessed the growth go from 3,000 people when I was a young guy, and we're over 50,000 people now. And I ran for mayor 4 years ago because I saw our leadership really still thought in terms of that town of 3,000 people, and they weren't really willing to recognize that the needs of 50,000 people are a lot different than the needs of 3,000. So
wow.
That was something very important to me, that we needed to really make the best Plainfield. We needed to aggressively pursue our economic opportunities. We need to get things done. There was a lot of talk about, well, this road's inadequate and this isn't happening, and why aren't we doing this? We need to get things done, and I think that's what my 4 years have been about, is a lot of accomplishments, a lot of things finally getting off the discussion table and into the actual construction phase, and great economic growth. And I think that people have appreciated that, and we're hoping for 4 more years of that.
Outstanding. And as a fellow Illini, I can appreciate that. I should have gone to law school at U of I, because I know it's a great program. Did you ever have a chance to study with Greg Adamski or Karen Conti?
Gosh, the names aren't ringing a bell, but I'm sure we had the same professors, I'm sure.
They taught down there, but I think he was older than. But I by the way, did you live in what dorm did you end up living in first?
Well, when I went undergrad, I lived in Bromley Hall.
Oh, sure.
Then on 3rd Street. Then I joined a fraternity, which was also on 3rd Street.
Okay.
And then in law school at different apartments.
Sure.
I lived out in Hessel Manor, if you remember that.
Oh, I don't. I'm not familiar with Hessel Manor. I lived in Urbana. Champaign-Urbana was.
I got you.
Yeah, I love the University of Illinois. What did you study as an undergrad?
I was a history major.
Yes.
I love history, but I knew I was going to law school.
Uh-huh.
And I practiced mostly in the real estate, transactional work, estate planning, probate, those areas, business transactional law. Those are my main areas here in Plainfield.
Which I would imagine, gives you a lot of perspective when it comes to working with folks in your community. What inspired you to run for? I mean, I know you mentioned running for mayor and the growth of your community. Had you held public office before that?
Yes, I was on the county board. I was also township supervisor, so
okay.
I've been involved in different political offices in the Plainfield area. County board from Plainfield and forest preserve. So I just thought we needed a more pragmatic approach to growth and things that were happening. And also, one of the things that happened in Plainfield was old Plainfield was a very small, farm town in northern Illinois, pretty monochrome, if you will. And the old leadership really wasn't welcoming people into town and recognizing the diversity. And it's so important that everybody in this town feels that this is their town, their hometown, because we draw great strength from the passion, the talents, and the inclusion of everybody in town. It makes Plainfield a better place, and it's just more pairs of hands to help pitch in making a great town.
That's fantastic. I know that, it's a little, things are very stressful right now. And when you're out talking to residents of Plainfield, what are you hearing from them the most? What are their concerns top of mind when you have those conversations?
Well, many of the usual things about taxes, traffic, roadways, things like that. I think what I have gleaned and growing up here, and I think something that remains here, even with most of the new people that have come here, people are pretty pragmatic and people are pretty moderate, and people want basic needs and necessities taken care of. They want a great town to raise their children in. They want good streets, good policing. They want to have great recreation and great amenities. They want to have a great community to live in, to work in, to play in, and to raise their children in. And all of these things are very basic, and it's great that we don't have any large level of extremism. It's most people are pretty practical, pragmatic people.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because it is it's very tense in a lot of other communities in the area, and you see things on social media. But it sounds as though folks are responding to your message. What I know that folks talk a lot about things that the levels of government can often be sort of conflated for folks. They'll talk about property taxes or education and things like that. Tell folks a little bit more about the role of a mayor in a community like Plainfield, how it impacts people directly.
Well, and you're correct. I mean, we are not the school district. They have their own board.
Right.
We're not the township. They have their own assessor that assesses taxes. Village government provides generally services. We do the policing in the village. We maintain village streets, roads, water, sewer supplies. We have the building code for construction, so we have our building department that issues permits for your projects and your construction. And I do think people do look to village government and certainly the mayor of a town as the leader of the community, even if it's not an area that the village government covers. They still look for leadership. They look for setting a tone. I compare my role, I always do football comparisons, but a coach sets the tone of how we do business and what our vibe is going to be. And I think that's an intangible thing a mayor can do, is set the culture, the tone. And I think it's something I take very seriously. We have to have a tone of inclusion and kindness and thoughtfulness towards one another, and not this division and kind of viciousness I see. I don't like it at all. I mean, we're human beings. We live here together. We bump into each other in the streets. I think we need to continue to stress that sense of community, that we're here together with one another. We have to support one another and help one another as needed. And I think it's a very basic thing. It's lost too much on the national political level that people are human beings.
Yeah,
they want the same things you want.
Exactly. I was so surprised. I don't know if you saw this out of Rockford. Someone on the council wanted to remove a sign that just said "Everyone is welcome in Rockford," and found to make that controversial. Isn't that nutters? It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't get it. I don't know what to say. I think it's more prevalent than it used to be, it seems, which I don't like to see. Mm-hmm. But I look at it this way. Our community, we can set our tone. We don't have to take our cue from Washington or anywhere else.
No.
We'll set our tone for what our community standards are, and I think that's what people want. And I think I'm more reflective of what majority of people in Plainfield want.
Well, and especially when you have a community that's growing the way yours is, it's important to not only make people feel welcome, but also know that you're bringing, as you mentioned before, whether it's infrastructure or commerce. Tell us a little bit about some of the developments that have happened in Plainfield under your watch.
Well, we're very excited about our industrial corridor, light warehousing, that has been very instrumental in providing lots of tax dollars without putting kids in the schools, without burdening our police services or roadways too much. I mean, obviously there's some traffic that comes along with that. That's been a big growth area, and we've designed an area, a very contained area. We also added something I call the green belt. We are having an industrial development build a belt of green space with native plantings and recreational trails at their expense in order to buffer the industrial from our residences. I'm excited about everything about that. And then, of course, the retail uses. In a tough retail marketplace, we brought in Woodman's Grocery Store, Cooper's Hawk. The Costco was here for a bit and doing very, very well. Portillo's is finally coming to Plainfield. There was a time in 2004, 20 years ago, where Portillo's was going to come. They went down the street. So finally, 20 years later, we have our Portillo's coming to town. We have a lot of local businesses, great restaurants, and I'm parked outside our local brewery. My friend told me he'd buy me a beer right after this interview. So we have local breweries, we have local coffee houses where they roast and grind their own coffee. We have a lot of great amenities, but we've really done very well in a very tough retail market. I credit, we have some great people in the village staff that reach out to end users. We've incentivized retail use to get them here. We're on the verge maybe of some really big deals. I was just talking with the developer today, and can't announce things until the ink is dry on the paper, but we're really close to some additional really good things, big names that people will be happy to have here in Plainfield.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is great news. And I thought there is something that I think a lot of people who are around our age and maybe a little bit younger, but someone just texted me to ask us about when I was a sophomore in college. I remember the tragic tornado of was it 1990?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Which really has had. Because we all people talk about Chicago doesn't really get tornadoes or we haven't had, but I think we all remember the Plainfield tornado and how that must have had it must have really shaped the communities as well too. Correct?
It was the strongest tornado ever recorded in the Chicago area, and it cut right through our farm. I grew up on a farm in Plainfield. It cut right through our farm. Some of our farm buildings were destroyed. Lots of trees. It was tragic. Only 29 people died, which is remarkable. I hate to say only.
Sure.
29 lives are precious, but school was going to open the next day. The high school was destroyed by the tornado, so it would have been filled with kids the next day. It was, but what it did, I don't want. How do I want to say it? It in a weird way, it put Plainfield on the map where people are like, oh, Plainfield, that's where it's at. Mm-hmm. We were a sleepy little farm town prior to that, and that really, people to recognize where we were. We were on the edge of all the growth of Naperville, and as Naperville was getting built out, Plainfield was kind of the next place to go.
Yep. Yeah, that was. I have to agree. I kind of thought it was somewhere west. I wasn't really sure, but I think that it really did put it on the map for all of us. And by the way, that's Teamster Brett. So that was. I want to say hi to our friend. He's often on the road. Where we, obviously union proud here at WCPT, and I know that's a focus for a lot of folks too.
That's one of the things that with the industrial growth. I've very close with a lot of our local unions, and the industrial growth will provide, this one project we just approved will provide $27 million in construction jobs.
Wow.
And a lot of our residents are union people. A lot of our residents are in trades, and it's very important that local jobs are produced. 72% of the people in Plainfield have to leave Plainfield every day to go to work. The more jobs we can create right here in town so people don't have to make these commutes, not only is it better for them personally, that's that many fewer cars on the roadways, too. So it's really very positive. I'm really excited. This development will also create 3,600 permanent jobs, which is really remarkable.
Oh, that's outstanding for the community of Plainfield. Again, we've been talking to the mayor of Plainfield. Where can folks support you, contribute, make sure that they got more information, that they get out to vote? Where can folks find you?
Well, I would say the easiest thing is Mayor Argoudelis on Facebook or Instagram. I post every day. I'm always providing news and information on what's going on. You even have my cell phone on there, so you can reach out through social media. Mayor Argoudelis.
Well, Mayor, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you again. We'd love to stay up to date on the work that you're doing in the community of Plainfield. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Of course. Our pleasure. Take care. Go get them.
All right. ILL.
There you go. Thank you. Let's take a break here, and we'll open up the phone lines. I know that we've been talking to our guests, and I've been yammering. Henry, if you don't mind, open the phone lines when we get back. 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. Be nice to Henry. He has been here since 5 a.m., and so you will be nice to him because we had a little bit of Lady B had to take the day off, and we'll talk more about that when she comes back and see how she's feeling. I think everything's okay. Why am I saying anything? Because we worry about Lady B. More after this on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, and KKNW 1150, Seattle, Washington. Thank you for having us on your team.
Thanks to our loyal WCPT listeners, the WCPT 20th anniversary broadcast is officially sold out. But you can still enjoy the broadcast by listening to WCPT Radio on Saturday, May 3rd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hosted by Hal Sparks, and he'll be joined by WCPT hosts Richard Chu, Joan Esposito, Patti, Vasquez, and Scott Duff. Surprise guests from WCPT's 20-year history will also join us. Scroll through 20 years of WCPT radio with legendary interviews, shows, and pictures on the WCPT 820 website. WCPT's live broadcast is sponsored by Max and Benny's Restaurant in Northbrook, Fazio Insurance, Smart 265, and Southland Friends of Labor. It's the WCPT 20th anniversary live broadcast Saturday, May 3rd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Only on WCPT 820, Chicago's only progressive talk radio station for 20 years.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, 1150 KKNW, Seattle, Washington. Hi, my friends listening late in the evenings. I hope that you're awake because it's something good, not because you have insomnia or you're worried about something, but maybe you're a third shifter or, I don't know, some folks getting ready for tomorrow. I have the 847, by the way, it says, big kudos to Henry. I heard him as I left the house this morning, and I'm hearing him as I get home. So you got them to work, and you're getting them home again, Henry. Well done. Roosevelt, look at you beating Jim on the phones because we had them all because we were tied up. We figured we'd make Henry, make it sit on hold. Just make it get the busy signal, Roosevelt. How you doing?
Hey, you know what? How you doing? You know what? You must be a mind reader. That was going to be my first statement, believe it or not, that I beat Jim. I'm not lying to you.
Sorry, Jim.
I'm not lying to you.
Look at you, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. I'm saying I don't know how I beat Jim.
I know.
So anyway, mainly I'm going to make it super short, and that is this. I've been watching the Midas Touch, and they see you're the best for this, which is elections. And I believe we have some good news, and I just wanted for you to give us a recap of what went on in the 36th district in Pennsylvania. You barely mentioned a little bit about Stefanik out in New York and all that, how the Democrats are gaining ground on elections down there in Florida also, I believe. Mm-hmm. So all this, there's a big rumble going on with all the stuff and all the cuts, and Eli Musk out in Wisconsin, which is also involves an election, Judge, like you mentioned earlier, and you and your guest. So I just wanted you to give us a recap on what's going on.
Well, I don't know if I have a recap. I'm not like Aaron Parnas on the Midas Touch. He's great. He does the breaking news stuff. But for folks who haven't caught some of this news, James Andrew Malone won a very narrow victory over a Republican for a Senate Senate seat in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And he was running on, do you want Musk's values or Lancaster values? And I'll tell you something. I think that both in the races in Florida, our friend that we've been talking to, and he was on, is it Josh Neal that we were talking to down in that district? He was on MSNBC last night. He's raised over $10 million for that race. I think what we might see, I think that I'm hoping, I don't know. My emotions, I try to just do the work because I had high hopes on election night with Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz. So, but what we are seeing in real time is this backlash that there are a lot of people who are saying, I didn't elect Musk. I don't want him in this race. I don't want him in my state. And I think what I do think is going to happen, though, is if Susan Crawford wins and either one or both of the Democrats win in Florida, I think Musk's days are they're numbered. I think that, and I want to see what that looks like. Does he flip the other way then? That the president wasn't really anti-woke, that he wasn't really to have a true vision for agenda. He didn't really, and then starts to work to destroy him. I mean, like that's like the villain on villain action we're looking for.
Yeah, and another subject that I wanted to talk about is our Secretary of Commerce. From what I understand, I read something this morning. He is basically doing ads on Fox News for Musk for the Tesla cars.
Yeah, well, they all are. You heard about that? No, I haven't. There's only so many stories I can catch, Roosevelt. Let me get to.
I'm just telling you what he's doing. He's saying that we're going to buy some robots that cost $30,000 a piece. We, as the government. That's what I mean.
Yeah, boy. It's horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
From us.
They're so useless. Okay. Thank you, Roosevelt. Have a great weekend, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Your calls are being taken in the order they were received, which is why Jim came in second. Jim, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I placed this day.
Well, anyway. I always bet at Quinella anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, good idea. I haven't read anything from John Hopkins or any of the medical journals about fluoride, but I'm going to get busy to work on it because according to whoever this loon is, County Bobby Kennedy Jr., Utah went for the bait and banned fluoride in Utah.
Yep.
Now, maybe they can sip on a Salt Lake. I don't know, but
yeah, guess so.
But Patty, I mean, think about how screwy this is. I mean, I've never given. Have you ever given fluoride a thought? I've never given fluoride a thought in my life.
There are people that show up. I remember there was a woman in a neighborhood meeting here on the Northwest Side that was demanding that our state legislators get fluoride out of the water. Look, I mean, if the thing is that the people don't actually seem to be voting for that, but they are electing people who will make that happen. So then I guess it's they'll translate to that. Well, that's what they elected us to do, kind of a thing, because they have done it in communities in Wisconsin as well. Not the whole state yet, but who knows what happens if Susan Crawford doesn't win.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, insane. But just think about this voting deal. Like the Republican House is talking about. First of all, ditching all the judges. He doesn't have to pay attention to any judges' orders. Those are just nonsense. And because they stand in the way of their agenda, they're irrelevant. Anyway, Patty, have a great weekend.
You too.
And take care.
Stay hydrated, right, Jim. Thanks. Thank you so much. I'm serious about that, by the way, Henry. Stay hydrated. You got to take care of yourself. Dave from Hoffman Estates, are you staying hydrated? Let me hear that water. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do it. How you doing?
Hey, did you happen to see that videos or the pictures of that horrific earthquake this morning in Myanmar?
Oh, my God. 7.7 earthquake. Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah. And when they had that one video where that one building came down, that looked reminiscent of when 9/11, when the towers came down.
Yeah.
And figure about 21 years ago, they had that earthquake over there, and you had that
tsunami.
That tsunami.
Yeah.
And they'll be coming. That usually comes in a day or two after earthquakes.
Yeah.
So and that's another thing. With these piles of that thanks to Doge, that no USAID workers. No. They were at the last one. Them and some of the other. U.S. agencies helping. Not no more. You let go all the people.
Yeah.
And that's so.
Well, here's the thing about that. No, but here's the thing about that. Like, I haven't had a chance to talk about a lot of these things, including the USAID, right? USDA has also been cut. Like, I'll give you an example. I think I mentioned this maybe a few days ago, that a grant for $26 or $27 million was cut. That was intended to both support farmers, right, in Illinois, and make sure that nutritional food, vegetables were supplied at schools and child care centers, and that also is now impacting our food pantries. There are about 19 food pantries around the state of Illinois that are vulnerable. So, folks, please, if you are able to connect with a food pantry in your community, this will be a time where we need to support folks even more, the people that work there and the people that benefit from their services. So, yeah, the farmers, people who work the food pantries. There's a lot of places that are going to be, yes, around the world. So do you remember before, Dave, they were like, why are we helping them there when we're not even helping people here? Well, now we're not doing either. So congratulations. Fantastic.
I remember that time when Trump went in that partial shutdown because of the Coast Guard being part of, they're not part of the DOD. Yeah. They had to go to the food pantries and stuff. And in fact, I mentioned on Jones' show, I believe, where brother-in-law works at the VA as a volunteer at the food pantries. And when they started that shortage with the eggs and all that stuff, he said it looked like locusts been going through that place.
Yeah. It was no. But before you go, by the way, you mentioned eggs. I don't know if folks are talking about egg prices are coming down. Do you know where our eggs are coming from now? They're coming from Turkey.
Yeah, Canada.
No, Turkey. Turkey and North Korea, and they're not. They're mostly the eggs that are usually intended for pet food. So yeah. So I would say buy from local farmers, folks, small farmers. Go ahead.
You heard they were smuggling them from Canada.
Yeah,
it wasn't fentanyl.
that I'd heard.
And they destroyed them by incinerating them.
Yeah, because they can't. They had no quality control or any safety measures to regulate those. So yep.
I'll clear you with this one. I read where military spouses that were working from home, they were granted to work from home. They just rescinded that now. They can't work from home.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, nice. Anyway, have a good week, Patti. Let me clear off.
Thank you. Have a good one. Take care. We're going to take a break, and when we come back after the news, we are going to talk to Kaylee Peterson out of Idaho. We've spoken to her before. I know she's having an empty chair town hall, which are taking place all over the country, and this is, I think, one of the ways we're going to get this done with, getting people together. Like I mentioned in Elkhorn, there was one guy who stomped out when he realized that there were a majority Democrats at the meeting. But I do think that there might have been people in the room. You have to hold these meetings, hold the so-called electeds accountable for what they're doing in D.C. And by the way, I do want to remind folks, you got to tune into Edwin Eisendrath's show on the weekend. He has such great information for you. So please tune in on Saturday from 1 to 4. And, of course, Out Chicago, all of our shows all weekend. Hal Sparks is on tomorrow. Randy Rhodes repeat in the morning. A lot of great shows over the weekend. And, by the way, I'm so excited that, before I go to the break, I know we're going to be a couple of seconds late. Scott Duff and Alan Miller are going to be the parade marshals for the Pride Parade in, I want to say it's like Buffalo, Illinois. Hold on a second. I just had the flyer. It is in Elgin. Is that right? Oh, man, I can't read this. I'll find out. But they're going to be the, I'm sure, did I ruin it? Maybe they were going to announce it. Look what I did. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Zeke, self-employed, called to refinance his $1 million home after being rejected by 3 lenders. Zeke contacted me after hearing me explain how I helped another self-employed listener who was also rejected due to lack of income. I helped Zeke secure an $800,000 cash-out refinance using the 12-month average of Zeke's business bank statements. Let's review. Zeke called to refinance his home after being rejected by 3 lenders, and we help Zeke refinance using the deposits into his business bank statements. If you're self-employed and want to work with mortgage professionals who understand self-employed borrowers, call Team Hochberg at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of self-employed listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 and that website you love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 112461.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Vice President J.D. Vance paid a visit to Greenland as President Trump pushes for a U.S. takeover.
At a U.S. space base on Greenland.
Hey guys, how we doing? Please, at ease.
Vance ate with troops and later offered pointed remarks, ripping Denmark's handling of the territory.
You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland.
Vance says that has to change, urging the island's people to push for independence.
And I think that they ultimately will partner with the United States.
His remarks came shortly after President Trump's in the Oval Office.
We need Greenland
for U.S. and international security, saying both China and Russia are interested in the Arctic. His interest has bothered Denmark, a traditional U.S. ally and NATO member, which says Greenland belongs to Greenlanders. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The Fed's favored inflation gauge ticked higher last month. Core prices up 2.8% compared with a year ago. Stocks closed another losing week with heavy losses, the S&P 500 dropping 2% on the day. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Myanmar, causing extensive damage. The initial death toll is at least 144, and officials warn it's likely to rise. At least 10 died in neighboring Thailand, where more than 100 are missing. President Trump says the U.S. will help with the response. And more storm cleanup in Texas.
South Texas is recovering after the area was hit by severe thunderstorms Thursday night. The National Weather Service says between 6 and 12 inches fell in parts of the state, flooding streets and prompting water rescues for stranded vehicles and trapped residents. Westlake Mayor Adrian Gonzalez calls it a historic rainstorm for the state's southern region. The floods forced Valley International Airport to close. Close to 4,000 people were without power in several counties Friday afternoon. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
This is AP News. President Trump's issued another pardon.
Trevor Milton, founder of the electric vehicle startup Nikola, sentenced last year to 4 years in a federal prison for fraud, but hadn't started serving his sentence. Prosecutors say Milton exaggerated the potential of his technology and say a company video even shows a non-functioning prototype truck being driven down a desert highway when actually it was being rolled down a hill. Prosecutors were seeking hundreds of millions of dollars in restitution for defrauded investors. President Trump says Milton was treated unfairly.
They say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him.
According to the Federal Election Commission, Milton and his wife donated more than $1.8 million to a Trump campaign fund less than a month before the November election. I'm Donna Warder.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I am meteorologist Jay Marslick. As we head into tonight, we're looking clear at the low around 59 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 40 miles per hour through the overnight. Saturday, chance of rain showers returns in the early morning under partly sunny skies with a high near 67 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Saturday night, chance of rain showers and thunderstorms likely under cloudy skies, low around 47 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79 degrees.
Ooh, just what I needed. A mug. This time of year, what do you give? When it's your extra concert, game, or special event tickets to VetTix, you're giving our nation's brave service members and veterans an amazing experience. Give something to those who gave. VetTix. For more information on how you can make a difference right now, or to become a VetTixer, go to vettix.org.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking. Now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. Hello to our friends listening on KKNW 1150 AM in Seattle, Washington. So proud to be a part of your team, your alternative talk over there. And of course, our friends on AM 950 KTNF in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We are here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal in Chicago. You can also catch us on Facebook or YouTube live streaming. Our producer, Henry, is making sure everything goes smoothly. Henry has been here since 5 a.m., so we're trying to keep him engaged. Thank you so much for taking over, Henry. And we want to thank our sponsors, Source Solar. Go to source.solar and find out about the great work that they do. Over 100,000 happy customers in the Chicagoland area. Also, visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Sign up for their newsletter and support the work that our journalists are doing there. I'll have a column out on Monday. And you can also order some of their great woke coffee, progressive brews, joint session. I don't know if it's available by order yet, but find out if there's one in your local distributor of Minocqua Brewing Company products. You can also visit our friends. Thank you to our friends at the Way Back In. March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we encourage you, if you or someone you love is struggling with a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyoureallywinning.com. And I'm so excited to talk to our first guest this hour because she is a force to be reckoned with in Idaho. Kaylee Peterson joins us, and first of all, I've stopped asking people how they're doing, Kaylee. I mostly ask if they're hydrating. Are you staying hydrated, my friend?
I say yes to the public, but my husband tries to feed me water as often as humanly possible. I'm a Diet Pepsi person, so I try and drink water, especially when I'm on the campaign trail.
Yes.
Hey, Patti.
Hey. Well, throw in some electrolytes in there or something to double your hydration power. I know that. So you have relaunched your race for Congress, correct?
See, I'm in this kind of fickle position because I promised when I ran in 2022 that I would continue to run at least the next 3 cycles. Oh. And so there's never really been a break in between the campaign and the years. So I am back on the road. There's so much work to be done, and we're going to keep this race going.
So you never stopped running. I love that. And it's so important for folks. I'm looking at your Facebook page, and man, this blue collar 1960 is not going to leave you alone, is he? Just out of curiosity.
I'm glad you bring him up because for those who don't know, I have somebody who created a Facebook page, Blue Collar 1960, really just to kind of troll the page. But I find that the best response to these people is one that's done in earnest. And so there are so many assumptions made because I call myself a Democrat, specifically by many of my rural constituents, that I'm some candidate for the elite, that I'm against the working people, that I'm funneling millions of dollars from George Soros. So I find trying to get them to see me as the human being I am, the working class mom, the candidate who's really just trying to find some policy solutions for the people. And it's been successful. I feel like, at least with Blue Collar 1960, he's not telling me to F off anymore. So that's
really? He's eased off of F off? How are your DMs going? Are you getting people? Did he also slide in and say some nasty things, or anybody else on your page?
No, it's funny because when I first started running in 22, I was getting death threats and people calling me horrific things. But I think because we've really built our campaign on positivity and trying to show the mutual respect that is possible between different parties and the mutual respect that is possible when we collaborate as a community, they've really stopped because I think it's hard to come after somebody who's being kind and respectful and earnest. So I don't get as many as I used to. I get some creepy ones, but not as many cruel ones.
Yeah, well, that's good because I started this new thing where if people say mean things to me, I dedicate 25 doors in their name and tell the folks at the door that person sent me because they really believe in access to abortion and workers' rights and things like that. And so, oddly, it has quieted folks down. So I went a different way. I went through. I call it being petty Patti, but I'm not running for office, so I can be silly about it. But it's sort of that for me. It's about being cheerfully aggressive. And you are cheerfully authentic, and I love that because you really are fighting for your community. Now, I'm excited that you are holding a town hall because I had the pleasure of going to a town hall meeting in Elkhorn, Wisconsin for an empty chair event for Congressman Style. And, of course, he didn't show up, and it was fantastic. They were expecting 100 people. They got 205. And these are really an effective way for people in the community to connect. I really do think so. So tell us about this event coming up.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I started doing almost immediately. I have a reputation in Idaho for holding specifically Republican town halls where I ask Republican voters to come question the Democrat and try and build bridges. And I've been really grateful that a lot of my supporters have been reaching out asking if they can help organize empty chair town halls for Russ Fulcher, because I think that's the one thing I want to hold him accountable for more than anything else is he does not show up. He does not work for the people here. He does not listen to constituent concerns. And I had the privilege of actually touring with the last two Democratic congressmen to represent Idaho, Larry LaRocco and Richard Stallings, who are incredible men who held a series of town halls up and down the state. And I was able to do closing remarks and just listening to the people at these town halls. There's so much fear. There's so much anger. People's livelihoods are at stake. Their families are at stake. And it just made it that much more important that we start getting these town halls. So we have scheduled town halls all up and down the 1st District. We are trying to make them a little punchier. I have a life-size cardboard cutout of Russ Fulcher that will be on the stage if he does not show up. And we will be videoing and photographing all of these stories and questions and concerns and the things that Russ Fulcher should be listening to. And we are going to make sure that gets to him, even if I have to deliver it in person in D.C.
That's fantastic. Really great work. And are you getting some folks, aside from Blue Collar 1960, who are starting to see or like kind of sort of dipping their toes and finding out what your candidacy is all about because things are going so sideways in so many ways?
Absolutely. I think especially with the layoffs with the VA, I think especially in a state that I believe 63 to 66% of the state is federal land. So our federal employees, our Forest Service workers, all of these people whose livelihoods have been up until this point taking care of their community and the land and the people here are now worried that they won't have a job tomorrow, that they can't support their families. And so there is so much fear and frustration. And I think that's why I've always said it's so important. We as Democrats have to go into these sometimes hostile, difficult areas in conservative rural America, because when we make ourselves known, they can't demonize us the way they do on social media. Nobody can come meet me in person and say I'm trying to destroy America and I'm some, liberal shell who works for the Hollywood elite. So it's been incredible, the response that we're getting, and just trying to show people how they can unite as a community and mobilize to productive action.
Yeah, that's the thing is, while there are folks that are just always going to be, in the, I guess, on the path of wanting to own the libs and we're commies and all these other things, you have really the people who are doing the work. What we found in Elkhorn was that it was, veterans, there were farmers, there were folks that, this was not what they had signed up for. And there's not like, and there isn't like, there was one guy that got up and left and said, I didn't know there were so many Democrats around here. But like I said, it was standing room only. They had speakers between the ages of 23 and 98, Kaylee, which was amazing. And it was people who, imagine being 98 years old and everything you'd been through, the Great Depression, World War II, right? I mean, all the things that all the sacrifices that people had made throughout your life in order for you to be here and for us to have democracy and freedoms and rights. And what we're seeing now is just absolutely insane. It's just, what are folks saying about Elon Musk in your neck of the woods?
You know, it's hard because this line of information that wasteful government spending is why we have all the problems that we have. It's kind of correct. I mean, the fact is that money in politics is the reason that middle class and working class America are suffering. But unfortunately, that kind of messaging machine that DOGE is actually cleaning out the federal government was really exciting to rural America until it started to hit them in their communities. So as we start seeing these communities feel the impacts of these cuts, we're starting to see more and more people kind of feel that betrayal.
Yeah, and I don't want people to suffer, but I mean, there's a part of me that I don't like saying fart around and find out, because people are really suffering in so many parts of the country. They didn't realize, and they didn't ask for this. People's lives are being upended. When you talk about federal lands, I mean, one of my favorite accounts is the forestry department. It has, I can't remember the name of their Facebook page, but it's the alt forest agents, like the what do you call it? Rangers, the forest rangers, right? And they're kind of the also the news providers of what's happening. And look, I know that there's some people who love this and think that Musk is doing the right thing. But I get the issue with waste, but saying that it's fraud without any charging documents and just sort of scraping people off. I don't know. Are folks reacting to what's happening with Social Security, that they'll have to verify their identification in person while they're closing Social Security offices?
Absolutely. One of the places that captured my heart immediately is Lewiston, Idaho. It's the original capital of Idaho. It is truly a blue-collar industrial town where people provide for their family and their community, and their Social Security office is about to get shut down, which means that in order to go in person to the Social Security office, they're going to have to go all the way north to Spokane, Washington. So what they're doing, I'm just so tired of working-class America having to foot the bill while politicians and corporations run rampant, because that's the waste, that's the fraud that I think we really should be talking about.
Yeah, it's absolutely unconscionable. I really can't even imagine for folks who that rely on their Social Security benefits that they have paid into, and to see these folks. And the other one is, are you guys the cuts with the USDA? Like in Illinois, we've lost grants, and actually not just USDA, we've lost over $128 million has been clawed back. It's considered to be pandemic spending, but it's also investment in making sure that we are keeping track of any other outbreaks. It's also mental health. It's substance abuse support. So far, I think in total, Illinois will be withheld $334 million in Medicare, Medicaid services. Are you guys seeing something at that rate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the frustrating thing is Idaho family farmers have to compete with these huge monopolized industries, and oftentimes these USDA grants are the only way these farmers are really able to keep their farm, keep their land. It's also often the only way that they have things like broadband or all of these really essential services. And so once again, we have a Republican congressman who's making all these promises to rural America, and then the second they get any kind of power, they're decimating. They're decimating anybody in this area's ability to work, to live, to learn, and we're seeing it immediately.
It's Kaylee Peterson for Congress. Go to KayleeForCongress.com. That's KAYLEE for Congress.com. Is there anything else you want to make sure folks know about? Because we're here to support you, to get the message out. Now we've got listeners in Washington, so I don't know if we reach your neck of the woods, but folks, if you know somebody in Idaho, get them on Kaylee's campaign. What else do you want them to know about your race for this seat?
Mainly that every single person in our communities has the ability to make a difference. There are a million different ways that you can get involved, that you can build community, that you can fight back against what we're seeing right now. So connect with me on social media, reach out through the website. We're really working to make sure that every single person is able to have an impact on the political process.
Really love the work that you do. Go get them, Kaylee. We're here for you, whatever you need.
Thanks, Patti. Have a great night.
You do have a great weekend, my friend. Take care. Let's take a break here, and we'll continue our conversation when we come back. If you want to call or text, the number is 773-763-9278. More in a moment.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
I just saw one of these for the first time the other day. A silent review on social media. They might be popping up in your feed as well. Influencers reviewing products without saying a single word. Instead, gesticulating wildly and making over-the-top facial expressions. Now, of course, nonverbal communication is nothing new. I mean, think of the ads you've seen your entire life in which an actor might present a product with a big smile on their face and recommend it with an enthusiastic thumbs up. Now, one speech-language pathologist we talked to said nonverbal communication is actually really how we convey emotions. Exaggerating these gestures and facial expressions is a way to add interest and excitement. She said this: "We humans are hardwired to be drawn to people who are non-verbally expressive. It's a key to charisma." I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
When you hear that a small Blizzard treat is just 85 cents in the DQ app, you might just feel like you're dreaming. 85-cent Blizzard treats. Trust us when we say you're not. But get to DQ quickly, because this dream is only a reality for so long. Hurry and get your small Blizzard treat for just 85 cents with a $1 purchase when you sign up for DQ Rewards. For a limited time at participating locations.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You want facts to matter, want to hear some truth? Get your lazy ass down to the voting booth and vote, goddammit! Vote, goddammit! Want some justice on the Supreme Court? Lifetime appointments, they ain't short. Want women to control their own body? Want a real president, not John Gotti? Want a clear separation of church and state? It don't come free, f***ers, participate! Vote, goddammit! Vote, goddammit! Vote, goddammit!
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Just thought I'd play a little Steve Goody, because we do have folks that should be out there voting. Gosh darn it. There's two versions of that, Henry. We've got one that's got the bleeping, and then it's gosh, the other one's gosh darn it. So maybe I'll play that one as well before we go, because just a little reminder. Yeah, there's a lot of voting actually going around. We've talked to our friends in Addison Township. We've talked to, of course, a lot of candidates from DuPage County, from Kane County. We talked to the mayor of Plainfield tonight. Check and make sure to go. I mean, Chicago has nothing. Chicago's got no elections. We got nothing. We got nothing going on right now. But at any rate, there's a lot of school board races, library board races. Please get out and vote. April 1st is your election day. Find out if there's any early voting in your community. Maybe get it done this weekend. Of course, our friends listening in Wisconsin, you know, you have, you are ground zero for the most important election in the country. Although it seems as though things are really heating up in Florida. So I wonder how it's going down there, especially if, folks are starting to feel the real crush of Social Security cuts. And by cuts, we mean that here's something that people don't realize. They have basically zeroed out like any expenditures for offices across the country. Like let's say they have like a credit card for the office. They've zeroed them down to $1. So they can't, like, if they, let's say they run out of anything, they can't go buy, like, the morale, they decided to crush the people that work for Social Security. There's one office in Pennsylvania where 1,200 people work in one building. They have, they've gotten rid of the real estate for most of the parking lots. So there's only 300 spots. People are showing up for work at 4:30 a.m. so they can park and go to work. So they're breaking it from the inside as well. That's something that our friend Kirk Banks had mentioned when we were at his tap room in February, is that now we know you can break things in the government. But why Democrats never break things for good? And I do have concerns. Here's where I am. I don't know if you ever listen to Politics Girl. I'm not lockstep with everything Democrats do. That's what makes a liberal, I think, or a progressive, is that, we're not in a cult, that if our leaders, people are like, well, you've got crooks on your side. Yeah, that's why Blagojevich is with Trump and not with us. Do you see how that works? And when they get prosecuted and get sent to jail, we're like, good. He broke the law. And you guys are like, oh, it's corrupt. You're weaponizing the judicial system. No, that's not what's happening. Oh, my God. Anyway, why am I yelling? It's Friday, Henry. Let's have some water. No, but for me, what the values that I find important, that I embrace, are most reflected by the Democratic Party right now. And again, if that were to change and if they get worse, because they are beholden to corporate entities, right? Because they do take money from big companies. We can see that. We can go through the whole thing. AOC and Bernie aside, a lot of them are, they're just wearing suits for a different team. And I get that. But right now, they are the ones that are fighting for unions. They are the ones that fight for women's reproductive rights. I mean, it's the best I can do right now. And I think for us, because we aren't going to be able to vote until 2026, and I do have those dark moments in my mind where I worry about whether or not there will be fair and free elections, and we know that there was a lot of shady stuff that went on the last time, and I don't know if we have Democrats in there that are tough enough and have cojones enough to make sure that this somebody gets held accountable, or that we do have a path to voting in 2026. I would say the easiest thing for me to have done over the last month or 2 months, and actually I started drawing down after Bezos withheld the support for the Washington Post was going to basically say Kamala Harris was a better candidate, and he said, we're no longer going to do that. Well, so I stopped. I canceled. I used to have a business account with Amazon for my comedy, for the business that I do, my own, for writing and producing shows and things like that. I used to have a business account, and I canceled that. It's hard. I don't want to keep the Amazon account that I have for our family. Unfortunately, there's certain things because of my son Declan that's just so much easier to get them, and I'm trying to find other places. However, man, it makes a big difference when you don't grab your phone and just start shopping and putting things in your cart. My bills are much lower, and there's certain credit cards I'm not using as much anymore. And the reason the way I'm focusing it is there's an app and a website called Goods Unite Us. That's Goods Unite Us. And before I buy something, as often as I can, or if I'm thinking about, if I try to decide between my credit cards, I know which credit card which credit card company has given more money to Democrats than to Republicans. So just my Discover card I use more often now. I shop more. I have a Costco app on my phone. Did you see this? First of all, so Target has lost money since people started boycotting Target. Costco is about to raise their lowest pay to $30 an hour, and that's how that works. At any rate, and you can do a lot at Costco. They got everything, and you can, like, if you're making travel arrangements, you can rent your car, you can book your flights. I've booked things. I used to rent when I was on the road more often. I used to be on the road almost every weekend, and I always rented my car through Costco. So that's just some of the stuff I recommend. Is that that's what we can do. That's where we hurt them is by withholding our money and our labor. We have to figure out how to manage that, and where we spend our time and energy, and mostly supporting each other. As I mentioned, I would encourage you to find out how the food banks in your community are doing, because they are they're looking at a cliff right now when it comes to support. Of course, we still have state support, but the state has to figure out what this is going to look like, not just for the next 3 years, but this, the administration under Governor Rauner still negatively impacts us. And I don't know how to explain it to folks better. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ford Miller. We talked to him last month, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him again. He's a teacher and a librarian with over 20 years of experience working in law schools. He's a reference librarian and assistant professor at Loyola University New Orleans. We'll have a conversation with him when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and hello 1150 KKNW in Seattle, Washington.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I am meteorologist Jay Marslick. As we head into tonight, we're looking clear at the low around 59 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 40 miles per hour through the overnight. Saturday, chance of rain showers returns in the early morning under partly sunny skies with a high near 67 degrees. Southwest winds at 10 to 20 and gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. Saturday night, chance of rain showers and thunderstorms likely under cloudy skies, low around 47 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and
Vote for Sean Hacker for Winfield Township Assessor. This father and family man is a 30-year building trades foreman and a true public servant. He serves as the Winfield Fire Protection Fire Commissioner, is a current township trustee, and a member of Township Officials of Illinois, as well as the Metropolitan Townships Association. Sean is a certified and qualified assessor who will have an open-door policy with the residents of Winfield Township. He will make information easily accessible in English and Spanish and ensure that seniors know what exemptions are available to them. Sean is joined by a slate of Democratic Township candidates who look forward to improving services for their community. Last election, a seat was lost by 97 votes. Your vote matters. We need your vote. Sean Hacker has been a leader in Winfield for over 27 years and will be a great township assessor. Vote for the Winfield Township Democratic candidates April 1st.
Paid for by Win for Winfield Township.
When I first had my baby, I'd get comments all the time about how happy I must be. I remember thinking, I want to be happy. Why don't I feel that way? It was hard to admit that, even to my doctor. But I'm glad I did. She told me it was postpartum depression, and that is very treatable. These days, things are feeling good, and we're both happier about that. Right, little man? I'll take that as a yes.
Mental health care is working for Simone. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
I want to make sure I remind you that March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we are proud to welcome our sponsor to the Driving It Home family. Are you really winning? Gambling is common in Illinois, with so many people taking their chances on the lottery, video game rooms, casinos, or online sports betting. When you find yourself betting and thinking about gambling all the time, when you lose more than you win, and when gambling is affecting your job, relationships, and more, are you really winning? They are here to help you, because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyourreallywinning.com today.
Listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Now, you know that since Inauguration Day, I decided to pace myself. And actually, on Inauguration Day, I spent the week in New Orleans, Henry. I don't know if you know that. I removed myself from this reality to go spend some time in the fantastic city of New Orleans. I was there for Mardi Gras, where I met Ford Miller, who's a reference librarian and assistant professor at Loyola University, New Orleans. Ford, how is New Orleans today? Is it beautiful? Is it warm and sunny? Is it gorgeous and fun?
True. We're going to have a few days of rain.
Oh, no! No!
Yes. Yesterday, however, was gorgeous.
Okay.
So I'm going to take what I can get.
All right. Yeah. I will. As long as every time it's bad weather, you go, maybe it wasn't Patty's fault, just because it snowed that one time, and then there were winds, and they were putting porta potties away. And we only had that one storm while you and I were out dancing. That would seem fine.
Yeah, and also there were storms 2 weeks ago, so it comes even when you're not here.
See, I appreciate that. Now, when you and I last spoke, we talked a little bit about how to get information, how to understand where we get our information from, and something I've been trying to understand as far as gathering information is the Constitution. And it seems as though you might have a handle on some of these aspects of the Constitution. Would that be correct or fair?
Yes, because in addition to the other things I am in fact a lawyer, licensed and admitted in the state of New York.
Well, there you go. And so here's my question. Before we get to the specifics of some of the cases that we've seen, the appalling images of a student being grabbed off the campus of Tufts University.
Right.
So can I ask you a question? This is really the simplest question. Who does the Constitution of the United States apply to?
Well,
right?
Let's cut to the chase there, Patty. In this case, we're talking about the Fourth Amendment, which is the protection against search and seizures. And the Constitution itself, I won't quote the text of the Fourth Amendment but essentially it says all persons have the. Actually, I will. Let me see if I can find it. At any rate,
it doesn't say Americans. It doesn't say citizens. It says all persons, right?
It says all persons, and all persons means all persons. Which means, for example, even if you are an undocumented worker, for lack of a better, even if you're an undocumented worker, you have Fourth Amendment protections.
Okay, so what is the Fourth Amendment? You said search and seizure, meaning is seizure also your person, like you being seized?
As a matter of fact, yes, that is correct. You got that part right.
Okay, just checking.
Let me get my reading glasses on because I'm old.
Well, because it's just sort of, I think for a lot of us, when we see this student at Tufts University, she's got her backpack, she's just walking down the street. We now know that she had broken her fast for Ramadan. And all of a sudden, these people in no uniforms, all wearing different kind of clothing, no badges, nothing that signifies who they are, where they're from, what agency they're with, and all masked. That's a little terrifying. Should we, aside from your legal experience, do you find that terrifying?
You got to ask two questions. Do I find it terrifying? Yeah, sure. I'm a Gen Xer. I've seen all sorts of stuff in my time, but am I surprised? No, I am not surprised because this isn't the first time this kind of thing has happened, even in my own lifetime.
When did you see this?
There's all
When?
They were
after 9/11,
like student student protests. This has always been happening in student protests. Remember the Black Lives Matter situation where you had people walking down student protesters who were being detained and spray them with tear gas.
Right.
I mean,
right. Yeah. But being taken and now we don't know where they are for 24 hours, and now she's in Louisiana. I think that yes, I agree. I mean, I saw they were opening a fire with rubber bullets on protesters at UCLA during the protests for Gaza. I know, and someone texted me that there were Black Lives Matter protesters who were detained and then not necessarily not given their due their rights. So for someone who go ahead.
So what I'm going to do is to sort of come in from this point of view. The issue is, do I find it terrifying? Of course I find it terrifying. Do I find it I find, however, what it is highly, highly offensive. Because if they are these people are doing things essentially in my name. And they are mistreating people in my name. And so before I'm going to get terrified, I'm going to get indignant.
Oh, yeah. See, I guess my mind goes to, like, I still can't even believe what I'm seeing, which is such a strange thing to even think. So for students who are here on a student visa, Marco Rubio has said if they say anything that apparently is in contrast to what the American values are, my understanding of what he's saying is he will revoke their visas. And I have no understanding of what a student, like, it seems as though, okay, fine, you revoke the student visa, why not just let them leave then, right? I mean, they don't know that they're here illegally because their visa is revoked. Like, this seems like a really dicey situation to be in. She doesn't know her visa's been revoked, right, in that moment. So she hasn't done anything illegal.
Right.
It's like they're changing the rules while she's here.
Right. Right. So one of the things you're pointing to, unfortunately, there is when it comes to people who are non-citizens who are being detained by the Immigration Service, that's called civil detention. And that's sort of a magic category that was created that removes it from the context of criminal law and criminal procedures, which is where the Fourth Amendment applies.
Gotcha. Okay, so
and that's one of the and so before we start talking about the Fourth Amendment and those kinds of things, there's the search, there's the seizure, and there's the detention.
Oh God, it's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and so, like, she was walking down the street and her person was seized. She was probably seized because she had things that marked her out as a practicing Muslim. And that essentially is racial profiling. Unfortunately, there are things that have said the Supreme Court, because we're dealing with an immigration situation, is allowing ICE and predecessors a lot more leeway when they act in this fashion. And in any case, what that person really, in terms of what she can do, is a person can be detained civilly upon in anticipation of deportation.
Oh man, that's gotta be so scary.
And it absolutely is scary.
Oh my God.
But unfortunately, that is what the law. That is what is allowed at this time. Whether it's wrong is a different question from whether it's allowed.
Gotcha. Now, we have a mutual friend who messaged me that she has a friend who was who is here on a green card, and they were contacted by, was it the Department of Homeland Security, requesting access to their social media, which is a whole bag of crazy as well. So tell us a little bit about this kind of situation for folks.
Well, first of all, a person with a green card is a person who's been granted permanent residence, and so they're in a different category than a person who has a visa.
Okay.
Second of all, the situation there is she's not being detained. She's not in a public place. Somebody is just calling and saying, I want these things. And there are similar things happening on college campuses where police are being approached and asked for their syllabus and teaching materials.
Wow.
And in both those cases, essentially they're engaging in tactics to try to get a person to do something that they don't have to do. Because in order for a government actor to act on things, they need to have a warrant. And when you're talking about, because that's a search, they're saying, give me these things. And the response then is, show me your warrant, please.
And what does the warrant?
Okay.
What does the warrant have to say? Does it have to give a reason for suspicion of anything?
The warrant has to. It's not. The warrant is very particular. Where let me find. I'm actually on the new service of Westlaw, but essentially, the warrant has to have. First of all, it has to say with specificity what it wants. So. I would be very curious to see if saying I want your social media logins is specific enough.
Right.
You know, what do you mean by that? My professional logins, my private logins, et cetera, and that sort of thing. The next thing I'm going to say is that they have to have, in order for a warrant to issue, a law enforcement official must swear out probable cause and spell out with specificity the facts that cause the person that says, I have probable cause that this may have happened. Let's bring it back to Donald Trump. Remember when he was, Mar-a-Lago was raided because he had classified documents. Well, you can go look up you can go find it's heavily redacted, but essentially you had an FBI official who swore out in an affidavit saying, these are the reasons why, and then listed the things like, you know, we know he had it in the past. We've approached him in the past to turn these things over. He still hasn't turned us over, et cetera, and things like that. And that's the kind of specificity that has to go into a search warrant.
Okay.
And so somebody calling and saying they want to see this thing. Now, here's the problem. If a person turns over those passwords and so forth, they're intimidated to do so, then the Fourth Amendment suddenly doesn't apply.
Oh no!
Because you've got to stand on your rights.
Okay, so say I want to see a warrant. So anybody who learns of, or if it happens to you, if anyone demands something from you, demand that you have a warrant. That they have a warrant. If they're asking for your social media, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate this, Ford. Yeah,
I want to be careful here because you say demand, but it's very important that you stay civil.
Okay.
Because if you don't stay civil, you're likely going to open yourself up to a situation where an official can search your person because they're detaining you because you threatened them or something, you know. So you've got to absolutely not do anything that in even any way, shape, or form can be interpreted as a threat.
Then do Scarlett O'Hara. Dear sir, I request a warrant if you are inquiring of anything on my person. How's that? Does that work?
Exactly. You just like say, I just say, oh yeah, okay.
I appreciate it.
But you know, essentially that's the case.
Oh, I appreciate.
You know, if they don't have it,
right?
If they don't have something like that,
right?
Now, you know, they don't have to do it. Now, where things get problematic, for example, is if you are working at a public university.
Okay.
Because that's a state agency.
Oh God. Well, we're going to learn more from you, Ford. I have to run. I so appreciate your insight on this, folks. It's Ford Miller, who is he's a professor and a reference librarian at the Loyola, and a lawyer. Pardon. Your bio here on the university page is just that. And by the way, one of our listeners, Gunny, says that he loves the campus in New Orleans, Loyola campus. Love walking around there and the park right across the street. And I highly recommend folks visit. Thank you, Ford. Enjoy the evening. Happy weekend, my friend. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's take a break here, and we're checking with Scott Stantis, political cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune, in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
The Randy Rhodes Show.
Oh, congratulations to the Fox and Friends weekend morning host, who's now our Secretary of Defense. He's a veteran, everybody. I know, I'm a veteran, too. I'm pretty sure I wasn't on any of Kamala's short lists for any cabinet position. But, oh, my God, these pits, it's almost like, well, there's a word for it. It's called patronage. Right here, right now on WCPT 820, weekdays 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
Hey, Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and Henry for coming in and saving me once again. He's been here for, Henry's been here for over 13 hours. Scott Stantis is only joining us over the last few minutes, and thank you for your patience, Scott Stantis. Can we hear you, Scott? Let's see.
I can hear
you. This is very exciting. Thank you, Henry. Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Scott, I know I have you way far away. Folks can't see Scott, but we can see each other, and that sounds weird. But at any rate, we're Zooming. Scott, it's been a minute. Happy belated birthday to Janine, who I know celebrated last weekend, I believe. And hi to you. How? I'm sorry, I don't ask people how they're doing. I ask them this, Scott. Are you hydrating?
Not as much as I should. When you get to be my age, what happens is your thirst receptor thingy in your brain, whatever, doesn't work as well, so you don't feel thirsty as often.
Is that true? I've never heard. I think you're making this up. No, you just want to drink water anymore.
I like drinking water. I just don't drink enough.
I'm going to make I've made a conscious decision this week to draw down how much I imbibe in alcohol, because it's just because if I keep drinking, I'm not going to stop. There's too much happening. I feel like I'm drinking. I feel like I'm playing a drinking game with politics. Oh God, I have to take a shot. Signal. They're sending links. I might have been added to the war conversation, and just I might have been a little buzzed. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's.
Oh my God.
That's why they.
Yeah.
That's why
well, me and Hegseth. I just got to drink less than Pete Hegseth. Is all I'm saying.
Oh my God. Can you trust any man who has a pocket square as an American flag? Now, a pocket square ostensibly is to blow your nose on. Now, this is he wears his pocket square is always an American flag.
Yeah. Well, but also, did you see when he gave those comments to the press? The lining of his jacket is also the American flag. You didn't see that?
I did not. Yeah. You're one of the most patriotic people I know.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know what the
Oh, you are.
Okay.
Oh no, you are.
I'm more of a Chicago. Flag. I'm more of a Chicago dork, is what I am. Look at my shirt.
Well, tomato, prick. But you are, and okay. I could not imagine you for a New York second wearing American flag liner. First of all, it would seem disrespectful.
If it's only if it's the 4th of July or Memorial Day, then I'll go all out.
Plus, these people just flat out lied when they were in front of Congress. Do you think any of them are going to be hit with contempt of Congress?
No, nothing. No. Nothing. No. Okay, this is so. I know we don't have as much time with you as we usually do, so I apologize and thank you for jumping on because Scott will also be. There's a show after the show, folks. If you go to the Patti Vasquez show page, the show after the show is Whiskey and a Cookie, and that's our show. Adam Selzer will be there. I don't know if Elliot will be there, but Scott's going to be there tonight. We're very excited. But I here's what I wonder, because did you see? You obviously saw that Elon Musk was saying he was going to give away $1 million to 2 people in Wisconsin. You tell me you heard this story. Come on, you haven't heard this today?
I've not heard. Oh, good Lord!
He tweeted this last night. So he's going to an event on Sunday, and he said that he was going to. You had to prove that you had already voted. So that I guess he thought that was a way to not make it seem like he was bribing you for your vote or whatever. He took the post down because the Attorney General of Wisconsin said that's breaking the law, it's bribery, whatever. Now he says now it's a petition event, and he's going to give $1 million to 2 people who will be the spokesman for the petitions. So here's my question: one, do you see is there going to be some point with Republicans? Because Republicans to me also seem like very proud people, like their dignity kind of a thing, and what Democrats seem to be an affront to them is like their sensibilities. Is there going to be a point where Elon Musk is in the same category as like Democrat, like who does this guy think he is, telling me what to do and coming here from Africa, this billionaire? Like, is there any point where? Oh God.
No.
Okay.
No, there's not. You know where I live, and I just spent.
Can I not tell people you're in Alabama? Scott's in Alabama, folks.
Yeah. I am in Alabama with a banjo on my knee,
and he's a recovering Republican.
Oh my gosh, I get increasingly disgusted as the days progress as to what has happened to the party. I mean, but to answer your question, Patti, no.
They're never going to break out of this cult?
We are setting up concentration camps in the United States. Think about this for a moment. Now, the reason this bothers me so much, my father was an infantryman in World War II and was one of the first people into Ohrdruf concentration camp. It's probably not one that you or your listeners are aware of, but it was the first concentration camp liberated by American forces. My father risked his life and was that of all the things he saw in that war, and he was in the theater of operation for almost 4 years. That's the one that really shook him the deepest. So when my own country is now setting up concentration camps, and there's no other name for them, Patti. There's no other thing to call them. It's a group of people being held against their will in a camp. That's a concentration camp. When you have people, these knuckle-dragging MAGA types in Texas, for instance, who are, the head of the Interior Department for the state of Texas, just bought a huge ranch along the border, has volunteered and happily and giddily, like they all seem to be, offered it to the Trump administration so they can build a camp there along the border to hold, people, human beings. They kind of forget that part, that these are indeed human beings. Patti, I'm beside myself. This is not my country anymore. And, I maybe just move to Portugal and enjoy charcuterie in a language I don't speak. So every time I walk by a TV, I hear Donald Trump, and I go, I don't care. I'm just going to have some more, prosciutto.
I have friends. I think I told you this. Friends of mine, actually, Steve's best friend bought a condo in Portugal, in Lisbon.
Really?
Yeah. Before the election, actually, while Biden was still in office, while Biden was still at the top of the ticket, they're like, we're out of here. I don't know if they're going to move there, but I know I have folks that are contemplating moving to Mexico and things like that. And actually, to be honest with you, I talked to Griffin about this because I do think about this. He's draft age. Right. So I haven't talked a lot about this, Scott. We got a letter from CPS saying that your child, and Griffin, it would be Griffin, who when he was in high school, that his records were compromised, and it wasn't anything financial or anything like that. It was race, gender, and age. Now, who would want? And I have that letter at home on my refrigerator. And
I'm trying to think.
Well,
what brown-shirted, goose-stepping people would want that?
Well, and the reason I thought about it because I have been. Have you been to London? Have we talked about this? So did you go to the Churchill Museum?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. We have to go to London. I love London.
Okay,
but
now?
I know. I don't think we can catch the plane right now. But the Churchill Museum, where he didn't really stay down there as much. He didn't like being down in the bunker. He liked to be amongst the people and seemed like he was tougher. But a lot of personnel was down there, and they had these charts of like different demographics of boys being born, how many boys they had between the ages of 12 and 16, 16 to 21, like all these different groups. I mean, like, because you need to know if you can keep supplying, bodies. So at any rate, So that was the first thing that crossed my mind when I saw that Griffin's information had been compromised. And he has actually said, well, I won't say anything about what his plans are because I'm on the radio and that would be stupid of me.
Well, I can say that my daughter-in-law, who you met briefly, Chris Stantis, Dr. Chris Stantis of Southern Illinois University, and other members of the staff there have gone very public as to what these cuts are are causing and what the fallout will be. They're a little nervous that there are going to be repercussions, and there may be. But I'm really proud of my Dr. Stantis and also the faculty of SIU for stepping forward and saying what BS these cuts are and how they're draconian and preposterous. And you know me, I like cutting to government, but I like to cut the stuff I know I'm cutting. It's so stupid, Patti. On the stupidometer of 1 to 10, it's like a 13. It's preposterous, and I'm so angry. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No,
What are you doing?
I was just going to let you. I was just reflecting on how when we met, because I think one of your at the time, smarter government and fiscal conservatism, but also one of the things that you and I debated back and forth was abortion access, and that was for me it was also how they solidified so much support. I mean, like it was trans issues, it was abortion, and here's the thing, they took it all, right? They took it all, and I can't wrap my mind around it. At any rate, Scott,
and I said they're not going to stop there.
No,
and I was right. They're going after birth control now, for crying out loud. Birth control.
I know.
The stuff that controls birth.
Yeah.
So anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. So the rest of this show will continue in about 2 minutes. Scott, where can folks find your work?
Just look around. Chicago Tribune.
Scott Stantis is the political cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune and the Dallas the News Star Morning News, as well as one of the hosts of with Ted Rall on the DMZ
America podcast.
and Center Square. What's in one thing I never
Center
do?
Clip, and also, and I also do a comic strip called Prickly City.
Oh, there you go, Prickly City. You got to keep up with Prickly City. Let's wrap up because by the way, Scott, we want to say hi to our friends and goodbye to our friends in Seattle, Washington now on KKNW 1150 Alternative Talk, and of course our friends in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950 KTNF, and right here on WCPT. Thank you to our sponsors, Source Solar, Monaco Brewing Company. Are you really winning? It is call 1-800-GAMBLER if you are struggling with a gambling problem. And thank you so much to Henry. Go get some rest. Will you have some beers? Randy Rhodes is up next, followed by Matt McNeil. Go to the Patti Vasquez Show page for Whiskey and Cookie. Bye, everybody.
When you hear that a small Blizzard treat is just 85 cents in the DQ app, you might just feel like you're dreaming. 85-cent Blizzard treats. Trust us when we say you're not. But get to DQ quickly, because this dream is only a reality for so long. Hurry and get your small Blizzard treat for just